know if I should say hello. Hello, and welcome to my apartment tour. This is the gate. When I forget my keys, I hop the fence. It's not that hard, you just put your foot right here. When I first thought that I had a problem, didn't actually come until I was already clean. I think that happens to most people. What I really thought is that I just had depression. And that I was kind of can I swear? Thought that I was kind of just a fucked up individual. And it just seemed completely normal to me that if you were someone like me and you had the problems that I have, the mental problems, the whatever, then you would drink like I do and you would use drugs like I do. And I guess I never really, at the beginning, thought that I was addicted to drugs, or I thought I was an addict. I really thought I could just stop. If my life got better, I would just stop. If people liked me more, I would just stop. And I started using drugs when I was 14. I never smoked weed before. I had just gotten opiates, like hydrocodone in a baggie from a friend of mine. I mostly stopped for a little bit, and then I broke up with my boy. It was like some stupid high school thing. I broke up with my boyfriend to be with this guy he ended up not liking me anyway. I felt like that had exposed, it just ripped my skin off and showed this like shriveled little golem creature that I was inside. That was just so emaciated and dehydrated and needed anything to just fill it up a little bit. And I couldn't live with seeing myself like that. So that's when I started using drugs again, pretty heavily. I got a boyfriend who was a drug dealer, and I became a drug dealer. Because it's a great front to put on. It works, It works for feeling more powerful. It works for getting money. It works because you're in this circle of people who rely on you for sex or for drugs, and you rely on them for sex or for drugs or for a place to stay or whatever. And all that works. It's a very precarious setup, but it works for a time. And when it stopped working is when I tried to kill myself for the second time. Well, for many a time, but this was the second time that I had gone to the psych hospital. Mostly just because of I couldn't take being the person that I was. And I was living with my dad at the time, and I called him from the hospital after he dropped me off. And I told him that I was going to be 5150. They were gonna legally just kind of kidnap me and put me in a psych hospital on psychiatric hold. And he told me over the phone that he is going to pack all my stuff into boxes and he doesn't want to talk to me ever again. So after I got out of the psych hospital, I just found people to stay with. I found people to have sex with so I could stay with them. I found people who I could sell drugs to so I could stay with them. until no one really wanted me to stay with them anymore because I wasn't the best house guest. That's when I made some friends that I really didn't want to have. They kind of just wanted me to do things that I didn't want to do. They wanted me to sell these drugs that they had stolen. They wanted me to drive a car that they had stolen. He would knock on my door every day, and he would bring people in and ask them like what they thought about me. And people would tell me how much they would pay for me. And I don't remember a ton of it, but I think at the end of one day, they had laid out some just white powder, what I thought was coke or whatever, on the table. I snorted 2 lines of it, and I was like, just to be safe, I was like, hey, by the way, what was that? And they were like, oh, it's ice, which is meth, for those uninitiated. And honestly, I pretty much stopped it there. I called my therapist, my ex-therapist. I told her, hey, I just snorted 2 lines of meth, and I think I need to just do something else with my life. Because I feel like these people are gonna come looking for me, and I'm in danger. So they shipped me off to California. I think a major part of it was I just didn't want to be homeless anymore. And I knew that if I did what society wanted to do, if I did what my family wanted me to do and go to rehab, you know, and that someone would let me stay with them so I could use drugs again. When I first entered residential rehab, I don't remember a lot about what I said during the intake exam. But something that was told to me later is when one of the counselors asked, why are you here? What are you looking to accomplish? All I said was, I will do anything to make me not feel the way that I do. I will do anything in this world. I will try anything to just not want to kill myself all the time. Cool thing about my room is I didn't really buy anything in it, like at least not at full price. Pretty much everything in here is secondhand, or I found it outside the dumpster, which I guess would still be secondhand, but yeah, even the Ernie's cage is secondhand. Sebastian, we found outside a dumpster. He turns on with the light switch. He actually was from a nativity, so he's a pretty cool guy. So how kind of a lot of rehabs work, at least how it worked for me, is I went into a 90-day residential program. And right off the bat, I'm detoxing. I am coming off of a lot of different drugs at once, and it is possibly the worst thing in the world. I begged them to take me to the hospital. And that lasted, I don't know, like 4 days. And then after that, I thought that I would move to Washington where my family was, but I ended up just going to sober living just because I realized that it wasn't exactly a smart thing to do to just move states. And I spent the 9 months in sober living, and I mean, I think that's exactly what I needed. I will have been here 2 years when it is June 4th. And that's when I will have my 2 years clean. I have a year's worth of cigarette boxes that I've just been hoarding for no reason. I don't know why I keep them, but all of these are for like a year of being clean. I'm not even gonna tell you that I don't think about smoking weed all the time, because I do. I was thinking about smoking weed last night. I was like chilling out, I had a cool hat on, and I was at home, and I was just listening to some funky music, and I was like, man,
I really want to smoke weed. Like a surface level. I just want to smoke weed. Spiritually, I don't really want to smoke weed. Me as a person, considering my entire life up to now, I don't want to smoke weed, but in that singular moment, sure, I think I was smoking weed. When I smell weed, it smells delicious. I don't think about like snorting meth all the time. Every once in a while, I'll think, man, I really wish I did heroin. Because I never got to do heroin. It's always like, man, how did I miss it? you know?
I guess the biggest question of my life has been what is next. The that's that's always been the thing. Is I've never had a sense of direction. And I've always envied the people that do. I like, are there things that I like to do? Sure. Are there things that I'm good at? Sure. Do any of those translate into a real drive for a career for me? Not even slightly. And in the same way, I've never really had a place that I wanted to go to. And I think that's one of the things that I always felt was kind of majorly wrong with me. Is it was always told to me like, oh, you're gonna have this and this is what you're gonna want to do, and you're gonna know exactly what's going on. And then I tried that. I tried to be what people wanted me to be. I tried to do what people wanted me to do. I tried to find my own passion, and none of it was ever really there. So I just kind of go where the wind takes me. Anytime anyone asks me that question, I always say the same thing. I'm just gonna go where the wind takes me. When I get bored of California, I'll move somewhere else. When I get bored of that place, I'll move somewhere else. Maybe it's New York City, maybe it's Washington, maybe it's Texas, maybe it's, well, probably not South Carolina. I don't know if I would really want to live there. Yeah, I think that I'm in a position now where I can do the best with what I have and where I'm at. And it all depends on just when I want to go.